Hey, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name's Olivia and I'm a gender affirming voice teacher. And today I'm really excited because I'm starting a new series. One of my resolutions for this next year is to connect more with you all. And so I'm starting a new series where I answer your questions. I'm really excited to connect and really hear from you what you wonder about, what you need help with. So today I'm going to be answering one question about practicing. And I think that this is a really great question for this moment because the new year is right around the corner. You might have some resolutions to start fresh with voice training. So I think that this question will be helpful. So I also want to mention here at the top, if you want to work on vocal feminization in the new year, I have a challenge for you. The Voice Foundation's 4-week vocal feminization challenge is completely free for you to join. You will get an email delivered to your inbox at the start of every week with a video, with exercises, and a habit tracker to get you started. And the whole thing culminates at the end with a live Zoom session with me and all of your fellow challengers where you can ask me any questions you like and we can come together to celebrate completing the challenge. So please go down to the description and sign up for that challenge. Again, completely free. I really hope you'll join me. So let's get started with today's question. So today's question is, how many hours a day should you practice? And how long does it take to feminize your voice? So this is a question I've gotten a lot over the years. And this is a little bit of a difficult question to answer because everyone's a little bit different. Everybody's situation is different. What you're coming into this process with, if you have some previous voice training, or if you have experience as a singer, or if you have more of a sense of your body awareness. All of those things can be helpful, but on the other hand, if you have a good way to establish a habit, that's another way to really get where you're going quicker. So it really depends on the person and how much time they're able to devote to this training. So how many hours a day should you practice? At the beginning, it's most important that you practice each day or most days. If you miss a day or something like that, that's okay. But the most important thing is that you're able to build that habit so that you don't fall off and never get back on the train, that you take a day off, but then you get back in. So if you have a busy life, work, school, whatever you're doing, sometimes it's not easy to practice for several hours a day, nor is it necessarily healthy for your voice because it's a muscle. It's like you wouldn't be going to the gym for 3 hours a day right when you start. So I would shoot for something like 10 to 15 minutes a day. And you could even split that up throughout the day. Maybe 5 minutes in the morning, 5 at lunch, 5 in the evening, or 10 minutes every morning, or 20 minutes each evening. Something like that. 10, 15, 20 minutes is a great way to make progress. So voice training is all about creating a habit, not only the momentum of doing it each day, but also creating a vocal habit. So the things that we work on in vocal feminization, the techniques are not, you're not standing on your head doing a dance. You can do these things. The challenge comes when you have to maintain those things. So that is oftentimes the big challenge. So if you're able to do something consistently, if you're able to sort of change your resonance and do it every day, that is going to be more helpful to you than doing a 3-hour practice on the weekends. And probably more beneficial to you if you're doing 3-hour practices every day, because your voice is going to tire out, you're going to fatigue, and then you're going to fall off the train. As for how long it will take to feminize your voice, that's going to differ for different people as well. So you might get sick and get a little bit of a setback with your voice. You might have some laryngitis or something like that. You might have a super busy work month and kind of fall off. So there are things that might come up for you that are sort of out of your control. There's also factors like, are you going to start using your voice full time at work? So whether or not you're out in your day-to-day life, or whether or not you have people that are safe for you to practice with, or that you feel comfortable practicing with, that's a factor too. So the sooner that you can start to use your voice in conversation, that's also really helpful, because that's really what you're going to be doing, right? You're going to be, you're not just practicing exercises in your life, you're going to be using your voice in conversation. So I would say the sooner you start to do that, and of course I understand that it's not possible for absolutely everyone, but the sooner you start to do that, I think the sooner that you are going to be able to build that habit. So for most people, you start to experience changes in the first couple of months and realize that you can make sounds that you didn't realize you could. And then beyond that, get to 6 months, a year, that's typically when it starts to lock in. Now, again, different for different people, and your goals might change as well. Oftentimes, the goal initially might be to, have a more feminine perceived voice, period. But then once you get into it and you start to learn like, oh, here's some other options. Here I can kind of shift my voice this way, or it feels better if, or more natural when I do it this way. And, some of those things won't come to you until after you've been working on your voice for a while. So that's why I like to add that caveat too, that, you might not get to the voice that you really love until a few years down the line, when you really feel really confident and happy with where your voice is. But that's not to say you're not going to hear changes and have a feminine voice before you get to a voice that really feels like you. So most importantly with practice is that you're practicing efficiently and you're practicing effectively. So efficiently meaning you're not spending 3 hours kind of doing, you're not quite sure what you're doing. And you want to do exercises that are really effective in doing what you want. So sometimes it's challenging to pick out exercises, from the internet, like, oh, I don't really know if I'm doing this right, and I don't really know why I'm doing this. So it's really important to select exercises or have exercises that you know what they are, you know what you're doing, and you know why you're doing it, what the goal is. If you just try to do some stuff and you're like, well, I don't really know what is this supposed to do for me, that can be a little bit more challenging. It's also really important to avoid strain and overuse. So sometimes what can happen with vocal feminization is that we get you're making changes to your vocal tract. You might be lifting your larynx or lifting your tongue, and then all of a sudden your jaw locks up. So you have some extra tension in there that is kind of working against you. So working on relaxation techniques, doing meditation, checking in with your body throughout your practice, that can be really helpful. Yoga is another great thing to build body awareness. I take yoga classes and it's amazing to me. Sometimes the teacher will come by and do a little adjustment for me, and I have no idea until after I release my shoulders how tight they really were. So doing things like that where you get in touch with, am I tensing these muscles? Because it's so easy to just not be aware of that. So that's another thing to keep in mind for efficient and effective practice. Working with a gender affirming voice teacher like myself, or going through a self-guided course like my True Voice Vocal Feminization e-course, those are a couple great ways to really make sure that you're targeting exercises that are going to be helpful for you specifically, so that you're not kind of meandering around trying to figure out what's going to work, that you really understand and have structure to your practice so that you know it's going to be efficient and effective. So I think the other really important thing that we touched on here is incorporating conversation into your daily routine, conversation practice. So whether that is like, you using your voice every time you go get yourself a coffee in the morning, if you go in the drive-thru or whatever you're up to, or whether that's making a phone call to a friend, or whether that's just talking to yourself, whether that's putting a recorder on and talking about your day. That's a great way to just get some sort of off-the-cuff conversation time. So the earlier that you can start incorporating conversation, even if that's just, one thing. If I'm just thinking about my breath support today, and I'm going to use that in conversation. Even if it's just thinking about my pitch, it doesn't have to be everything's perfect with my voice. It can just be I'm practicing this one thing. So I would recommend getting, the 10 to 20 minutes of focused practice in a day, but I'd also recommend getting 5 to 10 minutes of conversation practice in every day too. So practicing your voice in conversation daily will give you an opportunity to use your voice in different like social and emotional contexts. You might be with strangers, you might be getting your coffee with, talking to the barista who's a stranger. You might be talking to old friends or people that knew you before you came out. Different things, different situations, of course, will bring up different things, and that is going to inform how your voice comes out of your body. So learning, okay, when I'm in this situation, I'm feeling nervous. This is how I can handle that. Starting to learn how you can handle those situations. To keep your voice where you want it to be. So even take little small moments, talk to your cat, talk to yourself, record yourself, little things that can add up throughout the day. I also have a video about the 5 best ways to practice your voice in conversation, which I will link down below as well. You could check that out. So in order to make sure that you're getting to your goals this next year, 2025, I would prioritize making sure that you get your practice habit sort of together and so that you can stay on track and make sure that you are making that incremental progress. I really hope that you will join in on the January challenge starting January 5th. So please go down to the description. Remember, it's 1 email every week with a video with exercises and instruction for you, a PDF with exercises and a habit tracker. It's going to be really helpful to be in community with other people and get the new year started right. So thank you so much for this question. And I'm really looking forward to doing a Q&A every month. So look out for more of these question and answer videos coming your way up in this next year. If you have any questions or things that you'd like to share that have worked for you, please write those down in the comments. Go down to the link in the description and sign up for the Voice Foundations Challenge. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.